The cone is a 3D geometry, and when we drag it into the scene tree, you can see that it basically looks like a white triangle almost. So again, being that it's a 3D object, we want to put a material and or image on this. I'm going to drop a material on it here from my favorites, and that will pick up the shading on the cone. And if we click on the cone icon, it takes us into the cone properties. Here, the first thing that we have is the use LOD setting. Again, beyond that, we have the tessellation. So if we turn our wireframe mode on and come over to our tessellation and adjust this, you can see how it increases or decreases the polygon of this cone. And again, increasing the polygons of the cone will increase the smoothness of the rounded edges when we go to adjust that. Now we'll turn wireframe off. We have a height setting here, so as we adjust the height setting, you can see how that will increase the height. We can also take that all the way down to 0. There's a diameter setting, which we can increase, obviously, and then take that down to 0 as well. We also have the amount of corners. So if I come in, lower my corners, and if we go into our transformation axis or just rotate it within the scene editor, you can see how our corners here are down to 3. And if we go back into our corners, we can increase that all the way up to 100, and it's basically a smooth circle. Now underneath the corners, there's also a show bottom, so we can turn show bottom off, and now it looks like the cone disappears. But if we come back and rotate this, you can see that it only turned off the bottom of that cone. Now there is a way to see the inside of that cone, and you'll need a certain plugin if you wanted to see the inside of that cone. For now, we're just going to go back and turn show bottom on. Now we also have this center point, which is set to center by default. We can change that to bottom or top. What this means, again, as you adjust your height, this is where it will grow from. So we have it set to top. If we adjust the height, it's going to grow it from the top. Below that, there's also a rounded tip, which is off by default, but you can turn that on. So as we come down and adjust this rounded tip height, you can see how it's rounding the tip of the cone. So if we rotate this towards us a little bit, we can see that the tip of the cone can be rounded out here, and we can increase this. Now you notice the little variations here. So if we turn the smooth back on, it will completely smooth it out. If we turn the smooth off, and you can decrease the tessellation or the corners, and you can see how that will affect the smoothness of it. Also, if you turn it back on, the smoothness will be affected by the tessellation and the corners as well. So if you turn the rounded tip off, it will keep the numbers down here, but completely get rid of the rounded tip on the cone. So you have a couple of variations with the cone to make different shapes.